Arab and Islamic leaders have gathered in Doha for an emergency summit after that Israeli airstrike on the Qatari capital last week. The strike, as a reminder, killed 5 Hamas members and a security officer. The meeting this Monday serves as a pointed show of unity among Gulf and Mideast countries, and the members are seeking to pile more pressure on Israel, with attendees considering a draft resolution. Qatar's Prime Minister has described the strike as state terrorism and urged the world to reject what he called double standards for Israel.
It is time for the international community to stop applying double standards and punish Israel for all the crimes it has committed. Israel should understand that its genocidal wars that target our brotherly Palestinians with the goal of uprooting them from their own land and displace them will not succeed, no matter what Israel says to justify it.
Well, for more on this story, we can bring in Dr H A Hellyer, who's a senior fellow in geopolitics, international security and Middle East studies at the Royal United Services Institute for Defence and Security Studies in London. Thank you very much for speaking to us on France 24.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I'd like to start by this meeting then with the Arab and Islamic leaders. What do you think we can expect to come out of the summit? Are we just expecting more stern words or any concrete actions?
That's the million-dollar question. I think that what happened last week on Qatar with the Israeli strikes on the Qatari capital really pushed not only Qatar, but also the Gulf more generally, including, I would add, the UAE, which signed up to the Abraham Accords with the Israelis 5 years ago. And then more broadly, just really pushed a lot of Arab political leaders into this position where they realized that even the existence of the largest U.S. base in the region, which is in Qatar, Al Udeid, doesn't protect an Arab capital from strikes by the Israelis. The Israelis have been operating under what I like to call the impunity imperative, where they feel that they can engage wherever they see fit in the region in pursuit of addressing what they consider to be their short-term security interests without any concern around consequences or paying a price from not only the region but the international community. And the fact that the special envoy of Donald Trump is in Doha today, Tom Barak, expressing support for the Qataris, I think is a signal from DC that they don't want the region to feel that America isn't a good security partner, but I don't think that the region believes it anymore.
You mentioned the Abraham Accords. Do you see there being any implications for those?
I think that when you see the final communique out of the summit, there's going to be a general statement with regards to existing normalization agreements. So that includes with Egypt, with Jordan, which go back many years, but also the Abraham Accords as well, saying that these are being challenged or under threat or something like that. I don't expect the UAE to withdraw from the Abraham Accords as a result of this strike, but I do think that the Israelis are pushing the Emiratis in a particular direction, and particularly when they are very intent on annexing parts of the West Bank, which the Emiratis have expressed great reservations about. I think at the very least you're likely to see a downgrading of political relations between Abu Dhabi and Tel Aviv. But I don't think at this juncture the withdrawal from the Accords.
And Qatar says it wants the world to end its double standards for Israel's actions. And what is the likelihood of this, especially ahead of this summit at the United Nations, where France is leading that push to recognize a Palestinian state?
I think that the international community more widely, particularly in the global south, views particularly the West, particularly the United States and much of Europe, as not having double standards when it comes to Israel in the region, but no standards. The Israelis have prosecuted this war of devastation on Gaza for 2 years. They occupied positions in Lebanon. They invaded and occupied parts of Syria. They still do, including in Lebanon. It's reported that they sent drones to Tunisia with regards to the flotilla, although that's been unconfirmed. But the Israeli president didn't reject this charge when confronted about it at Chatham House in London a few days ago. They've struck Yemen. They've struck Iran in the midst of negotiations between the Iranians and the United States, and now Qatar. And as yet, we haven't seen more than statements come from the international community's most powerful actors with regards to the Israelis. I don't think this is tenable as a situation. I think the region in particular sees Israel as the most destabilizing actor at present. Even those Gulf countries that previously viewed the Iranians as the most destabilizing actor are now seeing the Israelis as the most destabilizing actor. And I think that they will also push their partners in Europe and the West to take stronger action. The question is how much and how quickly in order to send a message to the Israelis that further destabilizing and escalatory actions will not be tolerated.
And we've also been covering the visit of Marco Rubio to Israel. He held a very friendly press conference alongside Benjamin Netanyahu just earlier. What is your take on how the Americans handle the situation going forward? Because Trump has said that he wants this war over, but Washington obviously continues to show support for Israel for its military actions in Gaza.
So this is, again, a very good question, because the fact of the matter is that if the United States wanted Israel to stop the war in Gaza, on Gaza, then the Israelis would stop. They would stop immediately. But the leverage that the United States has over the Israelis has not been put to any use at all. When it comes to the provision of military aid, when it comes to political support at the UN, there are multiple levers of pressure that the United States could use vis-a-vis the Israelis. They've refused to do so, and on the contrary, even at this juncture where the Israelis have actually struck what is officially designated in Washington as a major non-NATO ally, i.e. the Qataris, Marco Rubio goes and is standing with the Israeli Prime Minister at the just a few days later, and not criticizing, not calling him out in that regard. So the level of support from the United States vis-a-vis the Israelis continues to be quite high. Yes, the White House, Donald Trump has called for an end to the war, but under what terms and how? The Israelis are insisting on basically Hamas surrendering and then moving to, quote unquote, the Trump Riviera plan, which sees the departure of huge portions of the Palestinian population from Gaza, most likely permanently. So I don't know how this is going to be a recipe for ending the war and being taken seriously by the Palestinians and regional actors.
All right, still, of course, many questions remain. Thank you, though, very much, Dr. H A Hellyer, for your analysis.
My pleasure.